Chapter 17. So today we will continue with our discussion on vector semantics, and but to motivate and to develop one of the techniques for vector semantics, which is word-to-vec, we will also talk about neural networks today. So that is basically the main agenda for today. At the end of the class, we also have a quiz. So are there any questions before we get started? So I hope all of you are kind of through with the midterm exams, and we are now into the last 6 weeks of the semester. So we do have a bit of content to cover. So are there any questions before I get started? No questions. So then let's get started. So we talked about vector semantics last time. The idea in vector semantics were to develop a richer representation for various linguistic units, such as words. So those representations should capture greater semantics as well as other aspects of words. And then based on those richer representations, we would like to use them in our various applications. Let's say, for example, sentiment classification or summarization or language translation and so on. So we talked about explicit and implicit representations. Explicit representation is basically feature engineering. You decide which feature is at a particular vector element and then fill in that value. Implicit representations are basically learned. And the whole idea of learning representation is also sometimes called representation learning. So representation learning is a concept that has become very popular, not just in NLP, but in other data science applications. The idea is that we do not worry about rich representations that are built explicitly based on domain expertise or other knowledge, but we develop an automatic system that learns the representations automatically from large amounts of data. So this is a representation learning. So in a way, word embeddings nowadays is an example of representation learning. So we talked about learning representation using co-occurrences of words and words, where one set of words were considered context. So, and these representations usually were sparse and long. And we mentioned that if you wanted to develop shorter representations or denser representations, you typically would have to do apply some techniques like SVD, singular value decomposition, which, by the way, in the NLP and text analytics domain, SVD is also known as latent semantic indexing. So both of them are identical. Of course, in LSI, we use terminologies that are more related to text, but the technique itself is the same. It's basically the application of singular value decomposition on the word-to-word matrix or word by context matrix. Okay. So after that, we wanted to discuss dense representations, and in particular, we wanted to talk about word-to-vec, which is an approach that was proposed in 2013 and which I would say kind of revolutionized NLP. So this is also representation learning, which maps or develops a representation for words in the form of vectors, but it uses a different approach. It doesn't use co-occurrences. It basically is based on predictive models. It uses a classifier to predict the occurrence of words in context. Okay? And since it is based on prediction models, and the original technique, of course, was based on neural networks. So that is why we wanted to introduce neural networks before we discuss this technique in more detail. So that was kind of the refresher from last lecture. Any questions or comments? Do we perform lemmatization before developing those matrices? It depends, actually. If you want to learn representations that are more general, then we do not do lemmatizations. In other words, for example, running and running would have different embeddings. The whole idea of representation learning is we want to learn richer representations. So if you run a representation for run and we learn a representation for running, both of them should capture the fact that run is kind of a lemma for the word running. Okay? So I would say no, in general, we do not do lemmatization, but in some application, you may want to do lemmatization. Okay? So, okay. So now moving on to neural networks. So neural networks, as you all know, are inspired from the human nervous system. The human nervous system consists of various processing units that are widely connected, or you can say highly interconnected. Those processing units do small bits of processing, and collectively, through the connectivity, that processing leads to useful task. So that is the idea of the human nervous system. And neural networks, artificial neural networks that computer scientists use were inspired by that general idea. Of course, as we moved along, neural networks actually were invented in the 1950s. But as we moved along, we had two distinct domains. One domain was purely computational aspects where we didn't really worry about how the human brain works, and we were only worried about how that computational model can solve a real world problem. And the other domain was to use artificial models to understand the human brain. So as computer scientists, we are more interested in the first part, and that has become more popular in more recent years, that we are more concerned about building computational models to solve real world problems. So the idea of the brain and the human nervous system becomes kind of secondary. Of course, the initial inspiration was from there, but we are more focused on our eventual application, our eventual task. The building block of a neural network is the computational unit. Okay? So this is sometimes also called a neuron or simply a unit. So this is basically a simple processing unit that does a basic computation. So what is that basic computation? Let me just show you that unit first. So you can see the neural unit described here. You can usually denote that unit by a circle, and then there is some input. some input vector usually denoted by X, some values. There's an output which denoted by A of the unit, and the input reaches that unit through links. So those links are usually weighted. So those are the weights, W's usually, and the entire processing of this unit is a simple equation. So what do we have? We have an input X. So we have X naught to, let's say, Xn. Okay. This is our input. So this is a vector. The original X here, of course, would be bold, but I won't be repeating this, and you should be able to understand from context. And associated with this is a weight vector W, where we have W naught to Wn. Here again, this is a vector. So we have an inner product between the input and the weight vector. And this goes into the unit, the circle. And that circle applies a nonlinear transformation, which we typically call an activation. And that transformation is done by what is known as activation function. Okay? So based on this, our output A is basically some activation function G applied to the inner product of W with X. Okay, so W transpose with X, I'm assuming W and X are column vectors. So that's why I've taken the transpose of W that multiplies with the vector X to give you one scalar, and that scalar is transformed using the function G. Okay. So this function G should be nonlinear in general. Okay. And the most simplest function, or the common one of the common functions that is used, is what is known as a logistic or sigmoid function. Okay. So this is the same function that we had used for the binary logistic regression. And I think last time I did also relate neural networks to logistic regression, which is very important. The neural networks are, in a way, nothing more than multiple logistic regression models, one after the other. Okay. So the sigmoid function, so this is the sigmoid function. The sigmoid function basically gives you an output between 0 and 1. That output is kind of squashed. It tapers towards 1 and tapers towards 0 at higher values of the X, which is the input W transpose into X, and lower values, it goes to 0. So in other words, as we saw in logistic regression, why do we want this 0 and 1? Because it's a probability. And other properties of this function is it is continuously differentiable, it is smooth, it is almost linear at the value 0, so almost straight at the center, and then it curves towards 1 and to 0 at the top and the bottom edges. So the gradient at the top would become 0, as well as at the lower edge, it will also become 0. The gradient, of course, is the slope. So slope is maximum at the center, where it's usually close to 1. So this is the basic processing unit of a neural network. Okay. And a neural network is usually structured in layers. So we usually have an input layer. Then we have a number of hidden layers. So there could be many hidden layers. And then you have an output layer. Okay. In each layer, there are multiple processing units. अभी मैंने ऊपर जो processing unit बताया था वो एक था. So there are multiple processing units, and usually they are, whenever they are drawn in line, एक ही लाइन में ड्रॉ किया जाता है. Sometimes they might be in 2D or 3D also. Those are kind of more complex models. ठीक है. So such neural networks are usually called so we basically characterize neural networks by the number of layers. And usually while we are counting the number of layers, we do not count the input layer. Okay? So for example, if you have a neural network with input, 2 hidden, and output, so this is called a 3-layer network. So input layer को हम count नहीं कर रहे. ठीक है? So this is by convention. ठीक है? So now let's describe the structure of a standard multi-layer feed-forward neural network. So multi-layer feed-forward network. ठीक है? So of course the first layer is input. This is usually just your inputs. इसमें कोई processing नहीं होती. ठीक है? So we have input, of course, is usually x, the vector x. ठीक है? And इस vector की जो length है, you can call it n here. ठीक है? So, which means that it has n elements, which means that there are n inputs. Okay. So this is input layer, and then we have various hidden layers. So hidden layers ko you can denote them with various ways. So the output of the first hidden layer or any hidden layer is the vector a. Remember, a initially was a scalar because एक unit था उसमें. But in general, a layer would have multiple units और उतने ही फिर A's होंगे. All of those A's are put into a vector which is kept the boldface A. ठीक है? So A1 would be layer 1. और इसकी number of units होंगे N1 होंगे. ठीक है? Similarly, we have A2. इसमें N2 units होंगे. And so on. Then we have output layer. Output layer usually is Y. कितने हमारे पास output units हैं, which is Y, and इसके जो counts हैं, let me call it K units. ठीक है? So far I have described the layers and each layers में कितने you can say nodes हैं. ठीक है? So ये जो input layer है X, this is just input. No processing. ठीक है? And then after that, all of the other layers have processing units. So this is also a reason why the number of layers of a neural network does not count the input layer. ठीक है ना? Because input layer में कोई processing as such नहीं हो रही, वो circles नहीं है उसमें. It's just input feeding values inside the network. ठीक है?
Excuse me, sir.
जी.
So does these N1 units mean कि वो कितने inputs ले रहे हैं? Each layer कितना input ले रही है?
नहीं, ये N1 जो है ना, this is the number of units in the hidden layer, the first hidden layer. ठीक है? आप ये समझ सकते हैं ये जो N1 है, this is the number of inputs to the second layer. ठीक है?
Okay. और first layer जो है वो जितने भी inputs आएंगे वो लेगी.
जो फिर से बोले?
जितने total inputs आ रहे हैं X inputs जो हैं वो A1 में जाएंगे और फिर N1 units जो हैं वो A2 में जाएंगे.
Exactly. Okay. So figures में I'm not that great, but let me just show you quickly a figure. Okay, so you can see a 2-layer neural network here with one hidden layer. So basically each layer is consisting of a number of units. So input से hidden पे जा रहा है, hidden से फिर output पे जा रहा है. And between those layers, you have those connectivities, which we can call links. And associated with each link is a weight, which of course is a parameter for the neural network. Okay? Or in other words, this is just a schematic of showing what is actually happening as computation. और वो computation वही जो मैंने equation में लिखी थी. But if you want to show it as a figure, तो वो figure इस तरह की होगी. तो अब हमने यूनिट्स, नंबर ऑफ यूनिट्स या इनपुट्स एंड आउटपुट्स देख लिए क्या हैं, ठीक है. अब between a pair of input and or between any two pair of layers, you have weight matrix or parameters, which are of course the links. ठीक है. So let's define those weights as well. So in general, we define the weight as a weight matrix because of course input and output जो भी दो layers लेंगे multiple होंगे. So you will have a matrix, not just a vector. So we define this as, for example, if you're going from the input, so पहले जो index आप देंगे उसका W का, this is the next layer. So W1, which is the first layer, और जो next index होगा वो आप 0 भी दे सकते हैं, which is means the input layer, या आप इसको X पे लिख सकते हैं, just to show कि ये input है. So W1X, for example, or as said, you can also write it 1, 0. This is the weight matrix from input to hidden layer 1. ठीक है? So similarly, using the same notation, let's say if I write W 3, 2, so what does this mean? So this is the matrix from layer 2 to 3. ठीक है? And similarly moving, let's say last layer जो होगी वो whatever आपका total number of layers हैं, let's say total number of layers is L. ठीक है? तो so L is your previous, so L minus 1 होगा फिर actually ये, so L minus 1 and then Y, which is the last layer. Actually ये उल्टा लिख दिया मैंने. So Y L minus 1. So L is the number of layers in a network. So which is what? Which does not count the input layer. ठीक है ना? तो ये आपके weights सारे आ गए. अब each weight की dimensions क्या होंगी? Let's look at that. So for example, let's take the first one. आपके पास था 1 और X था. ठीक है? So what does this mean? So पहला जो dimension है, this is the output of the first layer. So output of the first layer कितनी थी मेरे पास? N1 था. ठीक है? By input कितनी थी मेरे पास? N थी. So this is the size of W1X. ठीक है? So how many rows? N1 rows, which is the number of units or outputs of the first hidden layer, or X was the input, which was N. ठीक है? So number of columns N होंगे, number of rows N1 होंगे. And each of those columns would contain the weight vector for each of the hidden units. ठीक है? So hidden units मेरे पास कितने थे? N1 थे. So each of the rows actually will represent the weight vector for each of those hidden units because they're n1 rows. So let's say given this notation, so how would you write A1? A1 now of course is a vector. The complete layer, पहले layer की output क्या होगी? This is G, W, capital, 1, X. There is no transpose here, multiplied with X. Of course, these are all bold. ठीक है? So is this clear? और G of course अभी तक मैंने sigmoid या logistic function आपको बताया. By the way, ये जो G है is applied okay, element wise. So let me explain what this means. So W1 X into X. So इसका size क्या है? W1 का क्या था? N1 into N, right? You multiply this with X की dimension क्या थी? N थी. तो ये multiplication करेंगे तो आपके पास क्या आएगा? Output is what? Of size what? So you are multiplying the rows with the vector X. So how many rows do we have? We have N1 rows. So you'll get output is vector of size N1, which is the hidden layer का size. उसके output is. Okay? This G function applies to each value of that output. That's why I call it element wise. ठीक है? So let's say मेरे पास जो ये ट्रांसपोज करने के बाद मेरे पास जो वेक्टर आ रहा है, लेट्स से 2 आ रहा है, 3 आ रहा है, 1 आ रहा है, 3 डायमेंशन है. ठीक है? So ये G जो अप्लाई होगा वो 2 पे होगा to give you the first value. G अप्लाई होगा 1 पे होगा. And similarly इस पे होगा. ठीक है? So it's a non-linear transformation applied to one value of that vector. So any questions so far? Okay. Now for each input unit, I did not mention, if you recall, when I mentioned the vector W, उसमें मेरे पास एक W naught था, और similarly corresponding X naught भी था, हर एक unit का, हर एक processing unit का. So W naught is often called also the bias in neural network. हम जब logistic regression discuss कर रहे थे, W naught was a parameter, and I also said that it's called a bias also. और usually in neural networks हम B को separate लिख लेते हैं, और वो separate एक link होता है. So corresponding to this, उसका जो input है X naught है, this is actually just 1. ठीक है? It's fixed, or sometimes we say it's clamped to 1. It doesn't change. ठीक है? So इसी तरह जो W matrix में जो पूरा हमारे पास आ रहा है matrix, उसमें पहला सारा जो column होगा वो सारे ones होंगे X के. And similarly, of course, आगे जब जाएंगे A's के सारे ones होंगे. It will be fixed to 1. So is this clear? ओके, सो नाउ ये सारी प्रोसेसिंग हो रही है until you reach the output layer. अब आउटपुट लेयर में आपके पास y है, of course a vector in general, and some other function. Let me use another function. I'll explain why I use another function. W अब था आउटपुट हमारी थी y है, ठीक है, और L माइनस 1 जो होगा into A, so let me say कि हमारे पास L is equal to 2 layer network, ठीक है ना, या 3 कर लेता हूँ मैं, 3 layer network, ठीक है। तो ये ऊपर वाला क्या बनेगा मेरे पास, तो मेरे पास y जो है सम फंक्शन y w, ठीक है। सो 3 लेयर नेटवर्क है, तो इसका मतलब है कि लास्ट लेयर इस थर्ड से पीछे होगा 2, ठीक है, और ये A2 होगा। ठीक है, सो दिस इज फॉर द लास्ट लेयर, ठीक है। अब now the last layer would depend on what type of application, the function that is used for the last layer will depend on what type of classification you are doing, or maybe even you are doing regression, but so far we are focusing on classification, ठीक है। So we had two distinctions. We may have binary classification, or you can have multi-class classification, ठीक है। So binary classification में y would be a scalar, ठीक है, just one unit, and f be the sigmoid, ठीक है, just one output, and f would be the sigmoid function for binary. So for multi-class, so y would be a vector of size k. K is the number of classes. ठीक है, and f is the soft max function, ठीक है। The soft max function doesn't apply element wise. It is a coupled function, because if you remember last time मैंने डिस्कस किया था, या लॉजिस्टिक रिएक्शन डिस्कस किया था, उसमें नॉर्मलाइज कर रहे थे with the output of all the other you can say units if you are talking about neural networks. तो वो बाकी यूनिट्स की भी आउटपुट चाहिए to get the output of one unit. So in that fashion this is a coupled function, और पूरा आपने एलिमेंट, पूरा वेक्टर आपने देखना है before you can compute y, ठीक है। So this is for the output layer. It's task dependent. Of course कोई और आपके पास टास्क है, let's say regression है, तो उसमें f डिफरेंट होगा। यूजली रिग्रेशन में f होता ही नहीं है, लीनियर आउटपुट जा रही होती है, ठीक है। बट ऑफ कोर्स there might be other variations as well. So any questions so far? So this is the basic structure of a multi-layer feed-forward neural network, in which we have full connections from input to output. Input are whatever input that you want to feed into the network, that is transformed using the weight matrix W, and the various units which typically use the sigmoid function, until you reach the output layer, which does another transformation depending on what type of problem we are solving. If it is classification, then it's again a sigmoid function. If it is a multi-class classification problem, that's a softmax function. Okay? Which would of course then output the probability for each class in the multi-class classification problem. Okay? So the parameters of the models are all the W's. अब इस W's में वो bias भी included है. Sometimes bias हम separate लिखेंगे तो bias भी separate लिख लेंगे B. So these are all the parameters. ठीक है? So for example, जैसे जो पीछे मैंने function लिखा था A is equal to G W. Let's say this is the first layer X into X plus B होगा. तो bias अब यहाँ मैंने explicitly W में नहीं डाला हुआ, मैंने separate रखा हुआ as a vector. तो हम कभी इस तरह भी लिखेंगे और कभी हम bias W के अंदर डाल देंगे. But most commonly हम इसी तरह ही लिखेंगे, bias separate रखा होगा हमने. Bias is a parameter. So for example, in this particular case, so this would be B1 because this is a bias associated with the first hidden layer. Okay, so it's a vector. Okay, so this was these are the parameters, the W's and the B's. These are the parameters, and as you can see, the number of parameters would increase as you increase the number of layers. Okay, and how do you learn these parameters? You learn the parameters by minimizing a loss function, and loss function is usually defined as the output layer. So loss function, let's say जो हमने discuss किए थे पहले, cross entropy typically use होता है for classification. Cross entropy is computed at the output layer because वहीं हमारे पास y है और हमारी original problem का let's say जो भी output था, let's say C हमने use किया logistic में, वो C था. तो वहीं हमको पता चलेगा error क्या है. So based on that error, you modify the previous layer and then the next previous layer and then the next previous layer until you reach the first layer. Okay? So you might update the network. And of course, this update is usually done using stochastic gradient descent. वो भी हमने पहले discuss किया हुआ है. It's an iterative technique for optimization. So the error is brought back from the output layer to the input layer. So usually इस तरह की जो procedures होते हैं, we call this technique error back propagation. Okay? So when we are training the network, we are actually doing error back propagation to adjust all the parameters, the W's and the B's. Okay? So इससे वो famous algorithm, BP algorithm जो आता है, we are not going to go into the details of the derivation of the algorithm. So this was proposed way back in the early 1980s, mid 1980s, back propagation algorithm. Okay, and it's simply based on the derivative of the loss function and then adjusting that loss to all the parameters layer by layer. Okay, so that you can apply this model iteratively. Okay, so this was the introduction to a multi-layer feed-forward network. इसमें कुछ और चीजें हैं जो मैं probably next lectures में discuss करूँगा. अभी मैं I want to introduce word2vec. ठीक है? अभी उसमें और चीजें हैं जैसे regularization है, dropout का issue है, और चीजें हैं वो हम as we move forward हम discuss करेंगे. But let's now go back to Word2Vec, because we were talking about representation learning and word embeddings. Okay. So Word2Vec, as I said, was proposed in 2013, and originally they proposed two techniques, what we call a skipgram, and the other was called continuous bag of words. Although both of these names are quite not very intuitive, but that's how it is, and that's how people understand it now. Continuous bag. So two models were proposed, the skipgram model and the continuous bag of words model. So what is the idea? I'll start with the skipgram, and that's the most popular that is used nowadays. Bag of words ka main baad mein bata dunga, but essentially the same, but it's now less popularly used. So what is the idea? The idea is that we want to predict the occurrence of a context word given a target word. Okay. So it's based on prediction, as I said. It's not based on co-occurrence, it's based on prediction. So, and the context word is, of course, defined by a window around the target word. And वो window हमने वो पहले भी study की थी. Usually it's plus, you can say n minus n around the target word. Okay, and usually 1, 2, 3, let's say maybe 5 or maximum 7. Okay. So let's take an example. Let's say, so let me see, Lahore University of spelling errors. Okay. So let's say if you take the context word +1 and -1, and let's say I talk about the target word university. Okay. The target word university hai, we have the previous context word C -1, then you have university, and the context word C1.
Sir, is this one word before university and one word after the university which we are going to predict?
The N?
Let's see one.
जी.
Context word we are going to predict, is this one word before the target word and one word after target word?
जी, exactly. हाँ जी. So जो N है, let's say N1 है, तो इसका मतलब है कि one word before the target word and one word after the target word would be the context. Okay. So of course, from the running example that we have, the text that we have, and from this particular running example, we know that we have Lahore, then we have uni, and then off. Okay. So, and of course, we generate these samples. So what is the sample that we have? Input is the word university, target, and the output is let's say would be the word Lahore. So that is one input output training example for my classifier or for my prediction model. So similarly, uni and off. This is another training example. And both of these, of course, are examples where you have both of these words as context words. Okay? So of course there might be other words that do not occur as context word to university. For example, uni, let's say कोई word ले लेता हूं मैं, some other word, let's say parrot, for example. So parrot typically is not a context word for the word university. So where do you get this input output pairs? From your training data set, from running tests. And as you can see, we did not do any manual labeling. Labeling was already available in any running text. कोई भी आप language की text उठाएं तो वो उसी की जो sequencing है उसी से ही हमको label मिल जाता है. So we didn't have to do manual labeling like in many other classification problems. So this is one of the ingenious ways in which you are able to train a classifier, and this was one of the main contribution of Word2Vec. Okay, so okay, now so what is the idea now? Let's say मैंने ये ऊपर example लिया है. So input में मेरे पास लाहौर है और मैंने input में मेरे पास university है और मैंने predict करवाना है लाहौर. So मेरे पास कितनी possible outputs हैं, classes हैं. लाहौर के अलावा, for example in this example, ऑफ भी है और पैरेट भी है, बट और भी होंगे वर्ड्स. वो कितने पॉसिबल वर्ड्स होंगे? ऑफ कोर्स द वोकैबुलरी, जितने भी डिस्टिंक्ट वर्ड्स हैं आपके पास आपके कॉर्पस में, पॉसिबिलिटी आउटपुट की हो सकती है वो. सिमिलरली जो इनपुट है, हमारे पास कोई भी वर्ड टारगेट वर्ड बन सकता है. यूनिवर्सिटी भी हो सकता है, पैरेट भी हो सकता है, ऑफ भी हो सकता है, मैनेजमेंट भी हो सकता है, साइंस भी हो, टारगेट वर्ड होगा. ठीक है. सो कितने हमारे पास पॉसिबल डिस्टिंक्ट इनपुट वर्ड्स हैं, वो भी वोकैबुलरी साइज के हैं. So how do we represent, first of all, these input words? So we use the one hot encoding for this. So let's say if your vocabulary size is V, so let's say V is equal to N, जो ऊपर neural network हमने discuss किया था, ठीक है? So each word is represented a lot of spelling mistakes today, by a vector of size n. ठीक है? But for example, so any particular word, let's say university, आपने represent करना है, तो only the element of the vector that is for university would have a value of 1, all other values would be 0. Of course, an extremely sparse representation, but हम देखेंगे कि ट्रेनिंग के बाद जो हम वेक्टर्स निकालेंगे वो डेंस होंगे, but ये starting vectors हैं. ठीक है? So university would only have, the vector for university would be of length n, which is going to be large, vocabulary size tens or thousands में होता है, but उस पूरे vector में सारी values 0 होंगी except one value which is 1 for the position representing university. So similarly, management की कोई position होगी, कोई management का word को represent करना है तो वो 1 होगा, बाकी सारे 0 होंगे. Off के लिए भी इसी तरह ही होगा and so on. ठीक है? So we have now our input representation, which is one hot encoding, one at the position of that particular word and zeros elsewhere. So what about output? Output, first of all, is multi-class classification. So how many classes? K. ठीक है ना? तो नंबर ऑफ क्लासेस हमारे पास कितनी है, आउटपुट वर्ड्स कितने हैं हमारे पास, वो भी वोकैबुलरी साइज है. ठीक है ना? तो एंड वोकैबुलरी साइज हमने यहाँ का n है, तो इनपुट भी हमारे पास n है, आउटपुट क्लासेस हमारे पास n है। फॉर मल्टी क्लास क्लासिफिकेशन प्रॉब्लम हमारे पास पर n नोड्स होंगे आउटपुट पे, और वी विल बी यूजिंग द softmax फंक्शन एट आउटपुट। ठीक है, and the usual neural network model for word to vec is 2-layer network, which means that there is only one hidden layer. एक इनपुट लेयर है, एक हिडन लेयर है ऑफ प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट्स, एक आउटपुट लेयर है ऑफ प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट, बट दिस प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट ऑफ कोर्स इज फॉर क्लासिफिकेशन सॉफ्टमैक्स। हिडन लेयर में कोई नॉन लीनियर ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन है which is usually the sigmoid function, but there are some other functions as well, वो हम बाद में डिस्कस करेंगे। ठीक है, सो 3-layer न्यूरल नेटवर्क है आपके पास। सो अब आपके पास वेट वेक्टर्स क्या हैं? आपके पास वेट वेक्टर W। So now I'm going to not write bias within it. So आपके पास 1 x है, which is the input. You have the B1, ठीक है, and then you have W. आउटपुट मेरे पास क्या थी? Y, ठीक है, 1, और फिर ऑफ कोर्स BY। अब जो आउटपुट लेयर की जो बायस है उसको BY कह रहा हूँ, B2 कह लें या BY कह लें, Y नोटेशन कंसिस्टेंट मैं यूज कर रहा हूँ। ठीक है, तो ये हमारे पास पैरामीटर्स हैं न्यूरल नेटवर्क के। इज दिस क्लियर सो फार? अच्छा, हमारी यार क्विज भी है, लेट मी सी टाइम क्या हुआ। ओके, वी स्टिल हैव 10 मिनट्स। ठीक है, okay, so now we have these parameters. These parameters at the start are initialized randomly with small values, small absolute values, meaning that positive negative भी होता है। usually हम कहते हैं -0.5 और 0.5 के रेंज में हम इसको इनिशियलाइज कर दें randomly। And then of course given the training data हमारे पास क्या था? वही जो मैंने बताया, मेरे पास यूनी इनपुट थी और लाहौर एक आउटपुट थी, यूनी इनपुट थी और मेरे पास ऑफ एक आउटपुट थी, यूनी मेरे पास इनपुट थी, मेरे पास पैरेट एक आउटपुट थी। इसी तरह और भी बेशुमार होंगे। फॉर एग्जांपल पैरेट मेरे पास बन जाएगा, टारगेट वर्ड कहीं होगा, और इस पैरेट का लेट्स से कोई बर्ड आ रहा होगा, कंटेक्स्ट वर्ड, and of course some of those words actually occur, some of them words are negative samples। ठीक है, so for example ये जो मैंने एग्जांपल दी है यूनी पैरेट की, this is an example of a negative। ठीक है, so this word parrot does not occur in the context of the target word university। ठीक है, तो ये मेरे पास डेटा होगा, इस पे मैं ट्रेनिंग करूंगा। ऑफ कोर्स एज यू नो ट्रेनिंग में आपको पास सारी आपको ये देनी पड़ती हैं एग्जांपल्स। सो वंस यू हैव ट्रेन्ड द मॉडल you would have fixed the vectors W। so let's say मैं ये vectors 1x स्टार कर देता हूँ और W y 1 star। so this would be the weight vectors after you have trained the neural network, and this neural network is doing what? Given a target word, predicting whether a word is occurring as its context or not। ठीक है,
So what are these random small values for?
those are the starting values for W, for the parameters।
Okay.
So after this initial value, you use the optimization process using gradient descent to update those values until they converge। ठीक है, ऑप्टिमाइजेशन प्रोसेस चल रहा है, वो स्टार्टिंग वैल्यूज हैं। So once they have converged, we have the stars. These are the final values after training over the data set. So जब आपके पास ये weight matrices आ गई हैं after training, these weight matrices are actually the embeddings. And किस तरह हैं? Let's look at them. So now I'm not going to write the star because you know that these are the final weight matrices. So W1x जो है matrix, इसका size क्या था? इसका size था n1 by n. ठीक है ना? n1 is the hidden layer size. Usually n1 हम from, let's say, so usually it's in most practical cases it will be in the range from, let's say, 50 to 1000. ठीक है? The number of units in the hidden layer. So आपका जो weight matrix है W1x would be of size, let's say, 50 by n, and of course the vocabulary size वो काफी बड़ा होगा. तो and let's just look at कि ये जब matrix multiply होता है 1x, ये किससे multiply हो रहा है? x से, right? x क्या है? ये column vector है, one hot encoding of the input है. ठीक है? So if you multiply this, let's say ये मैं 1x लेता हूँ, यूनिवर्सिटी का वेक्टर लेता हूँ, तो यूनिवर्सिटी के पोजीशन पे ये 1 होगा, बाकी सारे जीरोस होंगे. तो जब मैं ये w इस x से मल्टीप्लाई करूंगा तो मुझे जो उस यूनिवर्सिटी वाला पोजीशन वाला जो कॉलम है वो सारा रिटर्न हो जाएगा w का. ठीक है? सो कॉलम साइज क्या था? वोकैबुलरी साइज था. और वो जो यूनिवर्सिटी का पोजीशन थी वो वाला कॉलम हम जब पूरा उठा लेंगे इस w से, दैट इज द एम्बेडिंग फॉर द यूनिवर्सिटी वर्ड. So do you follow this? So let's say मेरे पास I mean, of course this is simple matrix vector multiplication. So w multiplied by x. ठीक है? So let's say x मेरे पास 0, 0 और 1 है. So basically 3 words हैं, एक आखिरी वाला word 1 है. So if you multiply this with x, ठीक है? So what happens? पहला row of w multiplies with x, ठीक है? तो जो लास्ट जो एलिमेंट था w का वो आउटपुट हो जाएगा बिकॉज बाकी सारे जीरो थे. सेकंड रो में लास्ट एलिमेंट वो भी आउटपुट हो जाएगा. थर्ड रो का लास्ट एलिमेंट वो भी आउटपुट हो जाएगा. इन एसेंस उस w मैट्रिक्स का जो लास्ट कॉलम है, ठीक है, वो आउटपुट होगा. सो दैट लास्ट कॉलम इज देन द एम्बेडिंग फॉर दिस वर्ड which is represented by the position number 3. ठीक है? So is this clear? Embedding या representation आप क्या लें? So that is a dense representation. उसका size क्या है? इसका size वही n1 है, which as said can be 50 to about 1000, which you as the designer of the model has specified. तो 100 let's say आपने रखी हुई, तो 100 size की embeddings आ जाएंगी. These would be dense embeddings. All of these weight values would be most likely non-zero. Of course, some of them might be positive, some of them might be negative. And of course, their size is just 100. So that's why this embedding is dense and short.
सर इसमें हमें ये कैसे पता लगेगा कि हमारा नेटवर्क कब कन्वर्ज कर गया है, यानी ट्रेनिंग कब स्टॉप करनी है, ये कैसे पता लगेगा?
वो
या
तो
फिर
स्टैंडर्ड
evaluation
लॉजिस्टिक रिग्रेशन में जो हमने ऑप्टिमाइजेशन पढ़ी थी कन्वर्जेंस वाली. सो रिमेंबर द फंक्शन जो था वेट, द प्रीवियस वेट माइनस ईटा into gradient. So from one iteration to the next, when the weight matrix stops changing, we stop updating the network. Of course, इसमें caveats हैं, details की, वो थोड़ी सी हम आगे डिस्कस करेंगे न्यूरल नेटवर्क की. Of course, not in the detail that you typically study in a neural network course, but हम वो discuss करेंगे अभी. But अभी हम ये बता रहे हैं कि we are updating or training this model, which means that we are changing, updating these weights until it converges, which means that from one iteration to the next, the W's do not change within some tolerance limit. If that happens, that is means that our network has converged. So once that network has converged, we are just using those weight matrices and their respective columns then become the embeddings. So इसमें one last thing आपका quiz भी है, तो जो second layer थी उसमें भी weight matrix था y and 1. So इसमें भी जो columns हैं, by the way ये is multiplying with y. Y also is a one hot encoding because इसमें एक ही output select हो रहा है softmax की वजह से, बाकी सारे zero हैं. Of course softmax normalize करता है sum of probabilities to 1, but उसमें जो winning node है वो 1 हो जाता है, बाकी सारे 0 हो जाते हैं. तो so in the same way यहाँ भी जो columns हैं, this matrix are also embeddings. So in other words, you get two embeddings. One is called the input embedding, the second is called the output embedding. And in दोनों में थोड़ा सा ही फर्क होता है, मतलब, and we don't know what really to do. I mean, theory लोगों ने करने की कोशिश की कौन सा बेहतर है कौन सा नहीं बेहतर, but there isn't any hard and fast good answer. So what we can do is practice. We just take one of those, or we take the average of both. So select one, or take the average of both. Okay, for our final embeddings for a particular word. ठीक है, मेरे ख्याल से I'll stop here. So any questions?
Excuse me, sir.
जी. You have a question?
आपने किसी एग्जांपल के थ्रू हमें करा देंगे सॉल्व किस तरह से कन्वर्जेंस हो रही है और किस तरह हम w और x को मल्टीप्लाई करके चल रहे हैं.
जी ठीक है, next time करवा दूंगा neural network. It's very straightforward, but I'll take a small example and we can do it. Maybe you can even do it on MATLAB if you like. Demo आपको दे दूंगा. Of course MATLAB में vectors और matrices आपको दिखा देंगे, but computation वो खुद ही कर रहा होगा obviously, so that we can do it much quicker in class. तो ये मैं कर दूंगा इंशाल्लाह next time. ठीक है. बट अभी जो है ना न्यूरल नेटवर्क की डिटेल्स हमने और भी पढ़नी है. आई जस्ट इंट्रोड्यूस द बेसिक ऑफ न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स सो दैट आई कैन इंट्रोड्यूस दिस एप्लीकेशन ऑफ वर्ड टू वेक. सो वर्ड टू वेक की थोड़ी सी और चीजें हैं जो हमने डिस्कस करनी है, एंड देन विल कम बैक टू द न्यूरल नेटवर्क पार्ट. ओके, एनी अदर क्वेश्चन? आपका क्विज भी है, टाइम स्टार्ट हो गया है, तो आई थिंक you guys can start the quiz. Of course the quiz is 10 minutes long, but window मेरे ख्याल से आपकी 15 minutes है. You still have, you can start a minute or so.
सर अगर हमारे पास दो हिडन लेयर्स होती हैं A1 एंड A2, तो हमारे पास जब इनपुट जाती है तो वो दोनों में प्रोसेस होकर आउटपुट बनती है या किसी एक में प्रोसेस होकर भी आउटपुट बन सकती है?
दोनों में से बनेगी, बट फॉर वर्ड टू वेक यूजुअली वी हैव जस्ट वन हिडन लेयर इस एप्लीकेशन के लिए, बट सम अदर एप्लीकेशन के लिए हो तो वो मल्टीपल हिडन लेयर्स हो सकते हैं. तो A1 भी आउटपुट होगी, जो A1 की जो आउटपुट है दैट गोज टू द सेकंड हिडन लेयर व्हिच बिकम्स द इनपुट टू द सेकंड हिडन लेयर. ठीक है, एंड देन जो फाइनल हिडन लेयर है वो आउटपुट टू द आउटपुट लेयर, इनपुट टू द आउटपुट लेयर. ठीक है. So I think you can start the quiz now, and we'll start from here again next time, inshallah.